A day of commitment. A day of focus.
Feels like you're bluffing.
A day of 1,000 decisions that must go right. The whirlwind that is Day 5 of the 2019 World Series of Poker Main Event is next.
You want more?
Yeah.
Okay, you'll get more.
Welcome to Las Vegas and the 2019 World Series of Poker Main Event. We've come a long way, and we still have a long way to go. This is Day 5 from the Rio All Suite Hotel and Casino. The table's beginning to empty inside the Amazon room. I'm Lon McCarron with Norman Chad, Jamie Kerstetter, and Kara Scott. What was once a field of 8,569 players is down to just 259. Lots of money to be won from here on out, with a top payout of $10 million looming.
Lon, this main event is already off on the wrong foot. We have a New England Patriot at the PokerGO feature table. We don't need those stinking Patriots. This is the main event.
Richard Seymour very strong at the tables. Also is Dario Sammartino, one of Italy's best tournament players, $8 million in career winnings, 3 World Series final tables this summer. Main event payouts $10 million for the winner this year. Nice. Current payout almost $44,000. The big stacks in the room right now. That's a mercurial situation. Warwick Merzakinian with almost $6 million. I'll look at Robert Hydorn, currently sitting on a stack of $5.3 million. Also in the field, Poker Pro Lars Bonding. He finished 22nd in the main event back in 2011, hoping, of course, to surpass that this year. Before we get to the action, let's see where some folks stand. Andrew Brokus on the Corona Premier. Chip Stack Notables. He and Chad Power running it up today. Daniel Hashem, the son of 05 main event champion Joe Hashem, with over 3 million chips. And as far as I know, the last quasi-gaucho remaining, Jeff Madsen, has a big stack out there as well.
So we have 2 sons of main event champions still in the field, Daniel Hashem and Todd Brunson.
So
Brunson, of course, a bracelet winner in his own right.
Richard Seymour sits there with his bag over his arm all day, like anyone's going to try to rob him.
Yeah, right?
He could have his money like on the rail.
He wore it all day yesterday. I'm sure he's worn it all day every day. Yeah.
Most people here have backpacks.
70.
Richard goes with the front pack.
Well, it would be uncomfortable to wear a backpack on the chair, right? Maybe it's a backpack when he's walking around.
Maybe. But people put their backpack
They
on
do
their
on the
chair, right?
The chair. You're right. Well, you need it when you're all in.
Oh yeah, it increases equity by 5% if you pick up your bag and start walking away.
Jeff Eldred was the raiser with Jack 10, retired financial advisor.
This might be the all-in moment for Matt Stout.
Kolev called Queen Jack suited. Now Stout
All
with
in.
a pretty hand,
Raise
and you
all
are
in.
right, Jamie Kerstetter, all in for Stout.
20 bigs.
It's nice to not just face the raise, but have the call in the middle there. A little extra.
Yeah, nobody really with a hand to call him with. Down to Kolev. He restacks his chips and kicks them in, and Stout picks up a nice pot without a flop.
You don't want to show it? Come on, you started this game. You started this game.
Oh, we're playing the show one game? I love this game.
You started, you got one. All right. I was like, he's not paying attention. No one's going to call me out. All right. Yeah. No, we're going to hold you to it.
Inside the Amazon room, we take a look at the Respawn tournament summary. This is day 8 of this mammoth 13-day tournament. Second biggest field ever, 8,569. $10 million for first place. Antonio Esfandiari, Mike Matiso still
you're
in
asking
it.
for like a straight on
And at
board,
table
you're
B,
saying.
we have an all-in and a call in the white jacket.
I don't know how it
and
looks.
the
I don't know
boutonniere.
if
It is
both of them
Galen
are
Hall with
straight.
pocket queens all-in, called by Carlos Garcia from Bogota with ace-king. And, wow, ace-king in the flop. Garcia crushing Hall right now. Another club, but Galen does not have the queen of clubs. He needs one of the two remaining queens in the deck. It is the tray of hearts. And Galen Hall, one-time bracelet winner in the World Series, won the PCA in 2011, is out of the main event on day 5.
The Colombian merchant sending the American hedge fund / poker, sometimes pro, Galen Hall home. Boy, he looked natty nice today.
He did. We're in PCA calling his championship many years ago. Talked to him just before we went on the air, and he said, hey, you called that. Come call my feature table. Help me run it up. Fleetwit payouts, $10 million for first, minimum $1 million to make a final table this year. One man who would love to make a final table is the golden-clad Chad Power, a cash game specialist who just plays a couple of tournaments a year, PLO 8 tournament that he final tabled last year, and the main event every year. But what's up with the jacket, Chad?
This jacket called my name. So I said, all right, we got to get these jackets. They come in gold and silver. This is at the Aria gift shop. And I had a lot of random strangers touch me. A lot of people, you know, making it go black, making it go gold. And it was a good night. And then ever since, I was like, you know, I ain't taking this thing off. This is a good time. It's hard to be in a bad mood wearing this jacket.
Honestly, if that jacket called my name, I would change my name. But Chad's got a different style than me, and he makes it rock.
And I appreciate that he's now at least wearing a shirt under it.
Yes, thank you very much with that.
That changes the whole look, doesn't it, and the whole idea.
Yeah, now it looks totally reasonable.
Yeah, no problem. Oh, Chad, nice to see you again. Eldred with a raise with 6-4 of spades. Sammartino now with the pocket nines. He lives in Austria, where it's like a reverse black hole of poker knowledge.
Call.
It's where all the poker knowledge is in the world, I think. Stout folds his
Do you think if I just vacation there, it'll help?
You could just go and sit in the cafes and drink coffee, and you're
Smart.
good. Yeah. Kudos for the hand in the small blind. But there's been a raise and a call. Parking lot hand.
Yeah, ace-jack offsuit is definitely not my favorite hand to play, especially out of position, especially against someone like Sammartino who's in the middle there with $8 million in earnings and never makes a mistake.
And the guys who never make mistakes are really good post-flop.
Yes.
And he's going to be, Kudo, as you mentioned, out of position the whole way.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so let's refigure the out of position ace-jack call.
This is a good path to winning with ace-jack. Just smash the board.
Perfect. That's what they teach in Argentina, I think. 4 players in this pot, and now, not loving what he sees, another club hits on the turn. Time to try to end this, maybe. What are the odds somebody's got 2 clubs, huh?
Well, they don't, but you certainly want to protect your hand against anybody who's now on the flush draw, as is both Sammartino and Lek.
Healthy bet.
Yeah, you just want to price out the raggedy 9 and 8 of clubs here.
There goes the 8. Brinkley. So now back to Sammartino. Pocket 9s with the 9 of clubs.
Dario never met a pot he didn't like or a draw he didn't love.
Yeah, this one's problematic, though.
Yep.
You know you're behind now, most likely, and you hit your flush, you might still be behind. You don't know what Kudos is leading out here.
That's
Could have had a piece and a club.
Game's over.
Good hand.
Welcome back to Las Vegas. A good look there at talented poker pro Alex Foxen, up to 3.8 million chips, more than 125 big blinds. Corona Premier notables, Dean Maroney was a big stack of the whole tournament, just over 5 million. Sam Greenwood from Canada, 4.5 million. Antonio over the 3 million chip mark. Todd Brunson, very short. There is Dean Maroney. Is having the time of his life. He told me $100 qualifier into the main event. He's got family rushing out to all the health food stores trying to keep him primed and ready to go, sleeping a few hours a night and just running on adrenaline and big chip stacks.
Our Starburst cashers, Scott Davies finished 1,191st. Dylan Lindy, 968th. Brendan Kaufman, 594th. Tim Foley, 564th. Louis Hillman, 548th, and he folded pocket aces on the Stone Cold Money Bubble. And our top Starburst casher in 335th, who came here on a 50th birthday gift from his wife, Susan, Michael McKenna. Congratulations to all of you. 22% of people who received Starburst this year cashed.
And Jamie Kerstetter, 5,546th place. Thank
okay,
you.
So you brought down the percentage. I'm the one who should be criticizing you.
So nice job again, finding the people, and 22%.
They get him on day one or day two, and three-year record now, 22%.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Mr. 170.
Sammartino with the raise with ace-king, and Brinkley not believing Sammartino always has it. 3-bet with ace-4 of diamonds.
Sammartino and Brinkley are about 80 big blinds deep with each other. It's going to be a little bit of a dicey spot.
Mm-hmm.
I think Sammartino's just going to put in a healthy 4-bet here. Would be my guess. Uh-oh, looks like calling chips.
The Lavenders are worth 100K each. That is a call.
I've always wanted to play out of position against you.
Ace-king still best. No clubs for either player in their hand. Now with Dario's call there, he's not soft playing, but he's not walking on eggshells around the other big stack. You think he's more disguising what he has?
Yeah, and he's in position, so it's never that terrible of a decision to just flat. Sometimes you end up getting a ton of value out of ace, queen, ace, jack, ace 10, hands like that. Because
you expect him to continue here. Yeah.
Here he just gets a pretty terrible flop.
Sammartino thinking, yeah, it's about the c-bet I'd put in. So I guess Brinkley's just standardly c-betting away. Wheel draw for Brinkley now.
So you see how punishing it is to play out of position.
Yeah, two-way.
Check.
Sammartino may just be able to show down ace-king high for this pot. Brinkley doesn't improve. He really doesn't want to just, Brinkley doesn't want to just keep putting chips in this pot, throwing them in there, despite having a pretty good draw now.
Ooh, a 6 comes home for Brinkley with the 8-high straight.
Bink. This is extra nice for Brinkley because you don't expect him to have a 4 in his range and probably not that many 9s unless it was a pair of 9s, having 3-bet from the small blind. So this is going to look really bluffy if he puts out a chunky bet here.
Not chunky, just one Lavender. Or 2, there are 2,
Bet
yes.
240.
Still pretty small bet.
Still small, yeah, right, yeah. What a board to look at when you have ace-king.
Dario doesn't want to give it up.
In Dario's spot, I may elect to fold just because there's a chance this is a blocker bet with an 8 or like 10s or jacks or something like that you're always a little bit worried about when you haven't played that opponent very much. And it seems like Brinkley doesn't have a ton of experience. He's about 216K in cashes. Watch his zone. Not a rec player, but
He will pay him off. Just
Nice
maybe
bet.
out of curiosity more than anything else. You saw him squint as Brinkley was talking. He was studying his opponent very carefully. Brinkley looked comfortable the whole way.
he looks more uncomfortable after
He
the
does,
hand.
doesn't he? I'm sorry, Dario. Don't come back at me.
Nice hand.
Dario Sammartino swamped by a rough river on that last hand, something he hasn't had to deal with of late.
In the last 2 years, I don't play a lot poker because when you play poker like work, it's really tough, and your real life lose a lot of things. So I needed to have more time for me, more time for understand what I want to do in the life, what time for build a family, what time for myself, a lot of time for my hobbies. And when you play poker, you are focused only about poker.
I don't care what anyone says. No one gives up on poker. It is the gift that keeps on taking.
A raise from Sammartino. Now Stout with jacks. Sammartino's given way to a couple of Stout shoves.
Matt with about 27 bigs right here.
Come with a raise, not a shove.
It's always fun to wake up with a hand against someone who's a little tilted. You think, I'm probably going to get max value out of this. Whereas, you know, Sammartino is a really good pro, though, so maybe it doesn't influence him at all. He may just muck this one.
I think he's a little steamed, though.
Yeah. Some people can be steamed on the outside and still play really well, though.
No, and that's the sign of a pro, too.
Trying to learn that still. It's tough.
Saw Seymour fold small pocket pair.
Sammartino with the suited one gapper, the Michael Strahan.
Call.
Gonna make the call.
2 players.
Looking to get healthy, trying to force the issue. Maybe one diamond in there, but that's all for Sammartino.
Check.
Sammartino checks knowing exactly what's going to happen here.
Now they've got tape on the bottom.
Well, Matt Stout, using Jamie Kerstetter's rangefinder, knows that the deuce not in Sammartino's range in all likelihood.
Dario having to gather himself. You see that, just that little shake of the head. Yeah, a little disgusting. Back in Las Vegas for the main event, which comes but once per year. You can, though, relive the action all year long. Watch World Series of Poker Main Event archive episodes featuring the biggest moments from the most prestigious event of the year, anytime, anywhere, exclusively on PokerGO. Andrew Brinkley in seat 3, the big stack here at this table. And that puts him pretty far up there on the overall leaderboard, too, that $3.5 million. Might be some 6 million stacks out there about now.
Nobody at this table in serious trouble. Everyone with at least 25 bigs. You know, Andrew Neal looks like you might have read the Andrew Brokus book, liked it so much he's in the process of growing the Andrew Brokus beard.
If he makes it to the final table, he'll get there.
It is a long tournament. Lek limped in with the jack of diamonds and something else. Neal with the painted fingernails, called with pocket deuces, and now Richard has waited and his patience has paid off. He's lucky he didn't miss 3 hands, pocket kings. Big say with a big hand.
Raise 200,000.
A little scratchy throat. He hasn't said anything in 2 hours. Canadian Eldred folds. Come around to the blinds now. Sammartino and Stout. Stout. Come on, Matt. Yeah.
His pace of play is really slowed down. I'm wondering if we're nearing a pay jump or there's any reason. People are tired.
Well, we know that. So back to Lek now. Some picture cards. They're not as pretty as Seymour's.
Yeah, nobody got too sticky. When Seymour hasn't touched a chip in a couple hours, you can lay that queen jack down. You can lay these deuces down and just know that you're not going to be winning this hand without hitting a set.
About 8 from a pay jump, and the pay jump is like 7,000. So, you know, maybe somebody's thinking about that. Corona Premier Day 5 notable chip stacks. Dean Maroney now right at 5 million. The aforementioned Chad Power on his heels. Antonio Esfandiari still about 2.5 million. Brian Yoon, 3-time bracelet winner. And there's Lucky Starburst for Ross Ward in the field there.
Yeah, the second-year law student at Mercer Law School asked me for a Starburst yesterday. He was short. He doubled up right after. He's made his way to day 5. He has his own GTO, but his is the gin and tonic optimal play. You see that right there? He orders a gin and tonic the first level of each day of play, and you see the Fleetwood main event payouts, 10 million at top. And then today, Ross is up to 3 gin and tonics when I last visited him. That's the real GTO, baby.
Oh, man.
Richard Seymour keeping an eye on where those chips go. He wants a piece of that. Richard talked to us earlier about being at the Super Bowl and how having a positive mindset is a great benefit.
You know, it's funny. I went to, actually, I was at the Super Bowl this past year and with the Rams and the Patriots. And I was standing on the sideline and I had absolutely no desire. Just because I know what it takes to lead up to that point and just the grind. And I'm at a point where I'm like, you know what? Maybe I could play a down or two, but I just don't have the desire to put my body through that anymore. And you know, it's funny. When I played, my wife thought I really enjoyed working out. She was like, on vacation, you got up, you worked out, you did, like, she thought I was really obsessed with it. But it wasn't that I was obsessed with it. It was just that I had the desire to be the best, and I knew what it took to get there, and I was willing to do that. But now she kind of says, no, you really didn't enjoy working out.
Well, Seymour says this is the Super Bowl of poker. No. The Super Bowl is the World Series of football, Richard.
Nice on the Dollar Shave Club bio board for Richard Seymour. About to be 40. 3 Super Bowl rings. And something else in that pack. I mean, he's carrying in that pack everywhere he goes. I know there's something in there.
Well,
we're going to get him robbed, right? We got to stop.
No, we're not going to get him robbed. We're just going to have to find out what's in there.
The actual Super Bowl actually began 3.5 years before the World Series of Poker. And it actually had a very similar format to the main event that first year. 2 teams, the Packers and the Chiefs, played for several hours, and then the players voted on which team was better.
No.
Oh, yeah.
No.
It's on video.
Did the World Series of Poker at Binion's have the guy flying around and in that jetpack too? Remember that at halftime?
Oh, yeah, halftime at the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
No, you can't trust any aerial stuff near Binion's.
That's true. Even now with the people who are on that zip line going across backwards down Fremont Street. Seymour with the raise with Queen Jack suited.
Heads up.
Comes around to the big blind Lek. And he makes the call with ace queen. All clubs out there. Lek the only one with a club in his hand.
And I think we were talking about Seymour playing pretty tight so far. He wasn't really dealt a lot of hands. I think that's why Lek is just defending this in the big blind instead of 3-betting it. He just gets an amazing flop, and his hand is very under-repped here.
Seymour is going to put more chips into the pot. Pre-flop raiser. He's been coached. C-bet.
65,000.
Yeah, you think he goes to the Gus Hansen School of Poker? Just, your opponent never has it, always bet.
No, yeah, exactly. Kind of a small C-bet. Obviously, Richard doesn't like the clubs. Obviously, Lek does.
Oh. Must be nice, Seymour.
Seymour gets there is not quite as far as he wanted to, but that's a good thing. That's his best card. Gotta keep it going. Those are worth 100K each.
160. 160,000 is the bet.
You don't like this as Lek, but you're getting almost direct odds already, not even counting what you'll be paid on the river. If you end up making your hand, say a random ace peels off or another club.
Now with that call, it'll be interesting to see what Seymour would do if a non-club falls.
Heads up.
River card.
Wow. Seymour with the best card he could possibly hit on the turn and on the river.
And in that order.
Yep.
Patriots.
Yeah, just make sure that Belichick isn't dealing this hand.
I don't know. The dealer looks like he's got a cut-off sweatshirt. I'm not quite sure.
And a permanent scowl.
Lek has followed Seymour the entire way after all those clubs came out.
I don't know where Richard's gone his training on his poker face, but he is just expressionless.
I think I'm going to do a weak check back.
No,
Ooh.
don't do it.
It's too late.
Boy.
Oh, and Lek is off the hook. That was very lucky. I think he would probably have to pay off 400K, something like that.
You would have paid it off too.
Interesting board run out.
Yeah, so that's why I just checked back. It's kind of straight easy.
There's a lot going on there.
You called yourself out, though, for it, Richard.
Big say, picking up some chips. Slow and steady here on day 5 of the main event. Just about 4% of the field of over 8,500 were women. We have 5 remaining in the field right now. Sandra Postlewaite, Tara Kane, Tanya Kirk out there as well. First main event cash for Tanya. Jill Bryant in the field, 3rd World Series cash this summer, 4th overall. Heidi Alexander as well from the East Coast.
Heidi Alexander, an interesting story. You see her with nearly 800,000. She was pregnant in November of 2015. She was in labor for 24 hours, and she was watching the November 9 from her hospital room during that incredible 24-hour labor. Finally had an emergency C-section and gave birth to her healthy daughter, Shelby, at 3 o'clock in the morning. Her husband, Robert Elaine, had put aside $20,000 for them to both go to the World Series of Poker main event someday. And in 2016, he ended up going by himself, and he cashed in 291st. She didn't go because Shelby was only 7 months old. And then tragically after that, later that year, Robert died of a heart attack in late December of 2016. It was just an incredible blow to the family, the love of her life, and it just was a killer for Heidi at the time. And then Heidi took a time to recover. She decided to make her way back to the World Series this year to play for both her and Robert. She's already thrilled that she has been able to pass his 291st place finish, and now she thinks she can win it all.
Very nice. All right, going over to
Had that big
table C, where Mike Matusow is seated.
I didn't have to beat by much. I had 9s.
I'm glad that wasn't blind on blind. I don't know if you would have shoved.
Mike Matusow, Dollar Shave Club bio board, now 51 years old. Matusow looking for another bracelet. His last one was in 2013.
I'm glad that happened.
And even though Mike has 5 main event cashes, his last main event cash was in 2008.
Nice hand, Mike.
2 main event final tables for Mike. He had all his chips in the middle, like he'd pushed them out there. He's lucky he was reconnoitering his troops and bringing them back. So, not sure what happened out there. So, Stout is in trouble. He raised with 10s. Brinkley has jacks, just 3-bet to 260.
And the good news for Stout is that he's raising an early position. These are in later position on Stout stack. You just would never find a fold with 10s. I feel like here he has the option to somehow get away from this hand.
Matt Stout, the only player at this table under 1 million chips.
going with it would not be crazy. He's 24 big blinds deep, but he is going to face some bad news right now.
Brinkley with a monster stack here at this table, so big stack against little stack.
Or 870.
No, it's 970.
Slight misstep by Stout. Brinkley just hasn't been that active. We saw him get away with the ace-4 diamonds, that light 3-bet, but...
We're good, Taylor. We're good.
All right, there is the call to put Matt Stout at risk, and it's the worst possible news, dominated by Brinkley.
Good luck, Matt.
Thanks.
Stout's 10s at risk against the jacks. And here's the flop.
Did you have one of those? Oh, this is painful.
You think it's painful for you? Poor Stout has his outs withered down. He's got to wait just as long.
Looking for a hand. Seven of spades on the turn.
Matt's done great work with the charity series of poker he established 5 years ago, so if he's earned a one-time, this would be it.
The river card, another 4, and that's going to do it. Pocket 10s do not work for Matt Stout. Knocked out of the main event here on day 5. Another good run. He's a terrific poker player with live earnings of over 4 million, World Series earnings of over 1 million. Stout's payout almost $51,000 here as he exits on day 5.
Man's running high. He's running high.
Andrew Brinkley. He was the big stack before that hand. He's even a bigger stack now, adds $1 million to his arsenal. Stout is gone. Brinkley on the rise. Back with more in a moment.
The best poker content on the internet.
Your super high rollerball 7 champion.
Oh yeah!
Wheels are coming off.
That's the craziest hand I've ever seen. What was that bite?
Go to get.pokergo.com/YT24 for $20 off a new annual subscription.
Checking in on Heidi Alexander out in the field. She's all in on the river. And it looks like she is not getting her chips back, Norman.
484.
So Heidi will go out. She now runs her late husband's construction company that he put together, started on his own. She's happy to honor him with this cash, and she's also pleased to exceed his 291st place finish of 2016. Good going, Heidi.
Yuri Zivaleski is back on the radar.
Baby.
$5.5 million. Well done, sir. Joseph Chung, short stack out there, too. Daniel Hashem still over $3 million, along with Alex Foxen. 216 remain. The current payout almost $44,000. Back to our PokerGo feature table.
Robert Campbell is the double bracelet winner from this year.
I believe he still leads the Player of the Year standing
I
because
think
of that.
It put him to the top of the Player of the Year standings when he just won his second one.
Short.
Sammartino with a raise with ace king of diamonds. Big say with 10s in the small blind. Just called. And Eldred, who has had 6-5 more than any other main event player in recorded history during this level of day 5, is thinking about it. And he'll come along.
Short is 85.
Oh, how about if it was that much, would you come along?
Go down that road, brother.
That's kind of a Patriots move, isn't it?
Don't get me started. She just got me started. Now I'm thinking.
Is that why you look a bit deflated?
There you go. Thank you, Jamie. You know, Seymour with 3 Super Bowl rings, but if he can take down the main event, Richard would be the first Patriot to win a world championship without help from the officials.
Oh, man.
Okie dokie, let's get rolling.
Tens for Seymour, still best here. Not the worst flop for 6-5 if you're going to come along just because you have pot odds.
Yeah, double gutter is one of the most fun hands in poker. Just no one sees it coming, you end up winning big pots of it.
3 or a 7 will do it for Eldred. So keep an eye out for that on the turn if he sticks around. Sammartino bet his ace-king. Again, Seymour just called Sammartino's action.
Come on.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Sammartino with ace-king.
It's like a Hail Mary without Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback. That's a tough one.
I think Seymour's going to make this call. I mean, you would never do this in Eldred's seat with a set, right? It's the driest board ever.
No, you have 2 players in the hand, and you get twice the number of chips every bet you make, perhaps.
Yeah, there's no flush draw on board. It's fairly disconnected, and I think Seymour's going to find a way to a call here.
Yeah, he has to, but he's thinking it's still a big chunk of his chips, and he's worked so hard and so carefully to make it almost 2.3 million to begin this hand.
He can't even be worried about 2 pair on this board. Possibly he would defend an 8-4 suited, and I guess you worry about that slightly, but you could beat that by the river.
By the river. There's 2 cards to come. Wow, a great no-limit hold'em play here by Jeff Eldred with equity in the pot. As Jamie mentioned, the double gutter. Seymour with a made hand, an overpair to the board, but the big blind is shoving on 2 big stacks.
Yeah, I think this would be a spot where I just chuck in my 100K, see a turn. Yep, he's working it out right now, and he's going to find the right answer here and make this call. I'm pretty sure. I would like this shove so much better if there was a draw on board, if there was a flush draw on board, anything. It's just
to give more impetus for your opponent to fold.
Yeah, then there's a chance. It would make sense that maybe you would be shoving a set there. But here you don't have much to protect against.
If I was in a high roller, I'd definitely just put it in. But I don't feel good about it.
He's leaning, Jamie. Leaning toward a fold.
Oh, he's going to kick himself for this one.
I'm going to see it anyway, so you can just show it to me.
Oh, wow, he does fold. What a play by Eldred.
Oh, he can breathe again.
Eldred was not breathing. He's going to show.
Said he had a...
You deserve it.
Oh, thank you, man.
You deserve it.
Thank you, man. But I need to fill now this time.
His face is cherry red.
He won the pot, but he took about 5 years off his life with that one.
He really did.
Fall back on if you decide to cover one.
Yeah, I just was like, I don't really need to.
I've been hitting those. It was coming 3 on the turn, I promise you. I haven't missed.
We should have rented out.
Joe Chung all in with pocket 10s. He ran into somebody who had queens, and then they both ran into Lauritz Nielsen, who had them both covered with pocket kings. A double knockout. Joe Chung gone from day 5 of the main event. Back at the Rio and the 50th running of the World Series of Poker main event for Poker Pro Matt Glantz. Looking like the end of his deep run. He got his 10s in against the jacks. He needs a spike of 10 on the river, but he comes up short, and Poker Pro Matt Glantz is done here on day 5.
His 62nd World Series cash, 3rd time in the money at the main event. Still in search of that first bracelet.
Probably. Let's get on down to our sideline reporter, Kara Scott, for a little bit more on the man at the top of the list right now.
With 71% of the starting field of the main event being American, it was a bit surprising to see that 7 of the top 10 to start day 5 hailed from outside of the United States. One of those is Dean Marone from Dawson Creek, British Columbia, who qualified online for just $100. For someone from small town Canada, Las Vegas is a unique experience, even without the World Series. And Dean certainly agrees. He says that this is his 2nd trip to Vegas, and it really is a trip. Dean was a chip leader coming into day 5 with $4.9 million, and he said that all of his friends friends and family back in Dawson Creek are watching the updates and have been such a great support for him. Even people he's not spoken to in years. With the huge potential prize and the ESPN coverage, this is a big deal for a small town. He said that everyone and their cousin is following along, and what a ride it's been so far.
I hate to be too cynical, but Dean, when you go deep, you start to hear from people you haven't heard from for a long time who are following you, cousins you didn't know exist. Be careful out there, sir.
To our featured table, and Michael Leck, who has put his 29 big blinds all in. Brinkley knows that building your stack, part of it is making correct laydowns to preserve the stack, but you have to balance your aggression, your initiative with what's right.
You know it's going to raise. Because I have every time.
Oh, that's real close. Get out of here.
It is close, yet so far away.
Call.
Oh, wow, he does make the call, and Leck with ace-king, now with a chance for a very healthy double up.
Yeah, blind versus blind, this is a really tough spot for Brinkley to fold.
So Andrew Brinkley called with the ace-jack, thinking Leck was weaker, of course, than he is. Brinkley in danger of doubling up the man on his right. Ace-king at risk. There's a jack of the window and a king underneath. Wow. Great reveal.
That's a fun kind of throw roll if you're Leck.
Six of spades on the turn. You see Brinkley's outs. He's already burned one. Two jacks left to knock off Michael Leck. The river card, 9 of hearts, so a full double up for Michael Leck to almost 2.4 million. Brinkley had a big stack. It's still big, still over average, but he sure would have loved that knockout. As circuit rings, knows what the main event is all about. I'm sure he'll handle those chips with aplomb. Going to step away from the main event. Richard Seymour, big say, is at our featured table, holding his own so far late in the main event. Brinkley, well, time to rebuild a little bit. Antonio Esfandiari on the move, out getting some poker advice from his wife Amal. Look at Antonio's chip count. When he said he would miss us this year in the booth, he was not kidding. Looks like he is prepared for a couple of more days of play.
He's certainly well rested.
Mataso's on his feet. Mataso is all in right now. Mike with ace-8 against Carl Schall's ace-jack.
No,
so Mataso looking for an 8. He'll tell us.
We're drawing.
Now there's the jack. Very thin.
Very dead.
Very thin. Runner. He's Mataso 8-8.
Drawing.
And there's a 9, dead. And that is it. Drawing dead.
Yes. I'm drawing dead.
Yep, you are. Mike Mataso eliminated on day 5 of the main event.
Nothing's good.
Not close enough.
He's dead on the turn.
All right.
Dead. Queen 7.
Fun.
Carl Shaw scoring the knockout. Mike Mataso.
That was great, you guys. I had a good time, man. Good luck.
His 5th main event cash. Again, ending well short of where he wanted it to.
4-time bracelet winner can find another event to play here in the Rio.
He's a new Mike the Mouth. There was no blow up, just an acceptance of his fate and quietly walk away. That's crazy. Are we growing up?
No.
Under 200 players, 192. Mike will go collect almost 51,000. Average stack, almost 2.7 million.
I still want to see a replay on that one-time call. I think he might have asked for one time while she was already putting that card down.
So
if
he
she
still
did that,
has the one time then?
No, that should not even count because that should be a new river card. He called for the one after the buzzer.
I see what you. I see where you're
after
going.
the buzzer.
I thought maybe it's like the shot didn't count. Maybe the one-time call didn't count. So
who
he's still penalized the one time, and he has to get a new river card.
New river card. Who was it in? Who was he in against? Do you remember?
Yeah. He was in against Kartik Ved.
Yeah, if Ved were the Patriots, they would throw the flag and they'd get an overturned call here and they'd win the game they should have lost.
Interesting.
We are really alienating a bunch of people.
I will not be in New England anytime this century.
Well, Norman, much to your chagrin, Richard Seymour does drag that pot, and perhaps shockingly to many, he is still in contention for championship hardware, a gold bracelet. Well, stretch out, make yourself comfortable. It's a long road to the final table, and we are just getting our coverage started. $10 million awaits our world champion. Making day 5 of the main event is unlike any other poker tournament. You are now firmly in the thick of it. With 6-figure scores just ahead, poker wizards all around, and nasty 2-outers waiting to jump out of the deck, you better be at your best. For some, a chance at redemption. For others, a brand new challenge. For all, it's big money. Las Vegas, Nevada, home of the 2019 World Series of Poker main event. The Rio All-Suite Hotel and Casino hosting the last portions of day 5. Money won seemingly growing with every knockout. I'm Lon McCarron along with Norman Chad, Jamie Kerstetter, and Kara Scott, and we have already seen some great action on day 5. And I have to imagine, Norman, from the history we have here, from what we've seen on day 5, the nerves, the jitters, the players have all kinds of emotions, including the man here at our feature table, Super Bowl champion Richard Seymour.
From green grass to green felt, Richard Seymour is as cool as they come. It's nice to see him making a deep run. I'll forgive the fact that he's a New England Patriot unless we end up with the Flopgate.
His top 3 stacks right now in the room. Dapo Ajayi, 8.6 million right now as the stacks. Really, this was a great moving day for so many players. Warwick Merzikinian with 8.2 million. Smiles. Chip stack worthy of a big smile. Luritz Nielsen we saw with a double knockout earlier at our feature table. And now he over 7 million. Take a look at some of the notable chip counts on our Corona Premier chip board. Antonio Esfandiari with over 6 million now. Alex Foxen really flexing his muscles. He's got a lot of muscle to flex, by the way. Chad Power, 4.2 million.
What's better?
Table
right away,
B. Jake Schindler, $24 million in earnings. That does not shield him from having to go all in at a time. He is at risk with Ace Queen. Michael Capernaros with pocket 9s.
And I'm just going to let you know right now, if I'm at this table, I'm rooting so hard for a 9.
Oh, right? Yeah, you want to get Jake off your table if at all possible.
He's really dangerous with chips. He plays a lot of hands, and he's not going to make it easy for anyone.
Well, he flopped that queen, though.
Now I'm rooting for you to hit the 4, just so we can be like straight, you know? I mean, if I can't hit the 9. I am requesting a 9 actually.
Schindler, 1 card away from taking that million-chip pot.
Please?
He is one of the wizards. He can do a lot with a million.
Nice hand.
King of clubs there is the full double up for Jake Schindler.
Nice hand, nice hand, nice hand.
You think our stay is extended?
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah, you don't want Jake with chips.
Like
he buys into 300Ks and then gets second for 3.6 million. The PokerGo Super High Roller Bowl.
354 players began this day 5, down to 182. Some of the big eliminations include Todd Brunson, Mike Matiso, 4-time bracelet winner, and Joe Chung, who won his first World Series of Poker bracelet this summer. All gone, along with many, many more. 182 in the field. Let's get down to Kara Scott right now.
Sandy Postlewaite is having a fantastic time here at the main event, but she also told me, very frankly, she's scared to death as well. It's her first ever main event, and she won her seat here at her ladies group. 18 of them played 12 sessions over a year, and Sandy was the lucky winner. She and 2 of the other women came out to Vegas together, but like so many other players, they all booked their flights home for yesterday, assuming she'd be finished. So now she's here on her own, and her phone is blowing up with people wanting updates. It's been an eventful main event for her as well. Her table was the one that had the light fixture fall on it during the second earthquake last week. She'd also seen it swaying above her and just taken 3 steps back and then watched it come straight down. She was also a few tables away when a player was disqualified for dropping his trousers. Even after 15 years of playing poker, poker. This is not the game she expected, but she's having a great time. She says she just needs to make some chips and hold on to them.
Thank you, Kara. Over at table B, we find Chad Power, Maryland resident, trying to shine brighter than the field in multiple ways. Lately, Chad has spent some time with a famous DJ.
Yeah, so the most appealing thing about Vegas for me lately is I've been hanging out and playing a bunch of poker with Steve Aoki. He's always doing like crazy stuff and I'm just tagging along. Nothing's planned one day and the next day we're flying to Hawaii for a day, and then he's flying like 3 places in the world. I'm always able to go to his shows. I'm in the DJ booth, I'm on stage, I'm doing whatever. Yeah, life's an adventure. It's great.
Halfway through 26.
We're playing an extra half level?
That's what they were saying.
Yeah,
So sparkly.
Sparkly as is the state of Maryland.
That would take us halfway.
We have the Chesapeake Bay,
They're
we have the
telling the
Atlantic
truth.
Ocean, we
It kinda
have
seems they
Baltimore and Washington, D.C. metropolitan areas, we have Lito's Pizza. It's a wonderland.
Well, Chad Power celebrating this, the 50th edition of the World Series of Poker in golden fashion. It's been the theme all summer long here in Las Vegas.
Raise to 85,000.
I'd love to keep
Fabrizio raises with 6s.
Yeah. That's why I removed my shirt. Woo. I don't know why they don't have LED lights.
Gary Gates in the blue.
Dying over here.
On the button, Queen Jack of clubs. Gates
Hearts.
with a big stack. What did I say? Hearts. What did I say?
It's
Clubs?
a long day in the booth.
It's
You know, it was close.
Queen Jack of hearts.
Raise to 300,000 total.
Gary with a pretty big 3-bet size here, especially in position. But he's just trying to take it down. Doesn't want to mess with a bunch of hands versus with just a Queen Jack of hearts.
A 3-bet now back to Gonzalez. He might call if it's Queen Jack of clubs, but it's Queen Jack of hearts. It's more dangerous.
He does have the ace-8 off. I think the reader already decided it wanted to fold that hand.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
Get up.
Gates gets a call from Gonzalez. Pocket pair ahead right now. Hearts in there, but no paint. Gonzalez checks to the 3-better. Gary Gates with the bigger stack. Once they look at their stack, they're going to use it.
Gates 37, lives in the Las Vegas area, senior manager at PokerStars.
That's 350,000.
Half pot, exactly. Gonzalez just might think Gates is on the exact hand he's on here.
Sixes is really tough to play here in this spot. You're out of position versus a 3-better who's very likely to keep barreling. And even if you feel like your 6s are good right now, there are so many bad turn cards, it's going to make navigating this hand very difficult for you if you call here.
And by the way, everyone is out of position with Chad Power's jacket doing what it's doing.
It's blinding. You might need to wear sunglasses at the future table just for that reason.
That's why he's wearing them. And Gates does get the fold with that big bet. So Gates is that much stronger, over $4 million now. Welcome back to Las Vegas. We play day 5, then 6, then 7, then we hit the final table. Poker pro Antonio Esfandiari trying to end the day with a deep stack. We go over to top online player Yuri Zivaleski, a main event star.
We need the Dread Pirate Roberts at the final table.
Wouldn't that be a great heads up with those two? Taking a look at the Corona Premier main event notable chip stacks. Antonio just under 6 million. Alex Foxton still with a big stack. And Daniel Hashem, the son of Joe Hashem, the 05 main event champ with 4.2 million. the aforementioned Sandra Postlewaite in seat 1 is all in against Alex Foxen with the hat over in seat 8.
I'm a nicer guy.
Foxen with a 7, Postlewaite with Trey Deuce.
I bought a 4.
I think she's already counterfeited. Postlewaite looking for some magic to happen right here.
Please give her the deuce.
Still with 2 live cards, the river cards, a queen, and that will end the main event for Sandra Postlewaite.
Nice finish though, $50,855.
Thank you.
Enough for her to change her flight.
Exactly. They should have a travel company here to help people get a cheap change of flight.
I like her style though. I think that's a good way to anti-jinx your main event, is you book a flight home while the tournament's still going on, and then the poker gods just go, ha.
Just say, hey.
So just one woman left in the 2019 main event, Jill Bryant from Aurora, Illinois. I was talking to my buddy Keith Lutz, ex-Chicago cop who plays a lot of poker out here. He is familiar with Jill in the Chicago area. He says she's quite a comedic player, quite a lucky player at times. Keith scouting report says she does not fold ever, so she becomes known as the ultimate accidental bluff catcher.
Here, I'll endorse them. Shave. What are they?
She'll bluff catch the final table.
Rich Ryan tweet, according to Spot Track, Richard Seymour earned $89.5 million over 12 seasons, an average of $7.56 million per year. Only a first place finish in the main event would top that.
Oh yeah? Okay, cool.
Over to table B.
I think I might be
wow.
too goofy for him.
That is something.
So shiny.
That is something else. And it looks much better under the lights. I stood and talked to him a little while ago, and I was dazzled, but I'm dazzled.
I mean, then why don't you bring a bottle of water through airport security? But he gets through with that? Come on.
Someone set up cones, and they literally had
It's Vegas, baby.
Pretty great.
I'm just horrified at the thought of if he wins the main event, what people will dress in next year.
Well, we didn't get anybody dressing like John Hesp last
true.
year. So.
Yeah, that's true. And then I didn't really see any raccoon hats after we win, so yeah.
Now, he signed and handed them all out. But he did tell me if he had made the main event final table, he was going to go back to raccoon, but not to be. Queen knocked out today.
Raise 100.
Jordan Nexted. Raised to 100,000 minimum raise right now. Chad Power calls with the deuces. Mihai Manol in the big blind, Romanian poker pro. 9 tray for the 2 players heads up. Manol folded. So the deuces are good with the trays on board.
125.
And a quick call from Nexted. 2 overcards. Nobody likes that. Nexted still has his hockey playoff beard going.
Everybody's got a beard going these days.
Yeah, you're right.
One left in the whole main event, come on. And I expect Nogstead to take this one down.
It's 215.
This whole table has beards. Why'd you bring up the beard thing? Now all I'm thinking about is beards.
Oh, and Chad is a non-believer. Nice call.
Come on, turn it over. Let's see it.
I'm a fan of that. When you're bluffing and you get caught, you just snap it right over. I won a cash game pot like that once because I looked so confident
like
to just
you were
fold
the
it.
winner.
Yeah.
Well, Chad Power, cash game extraordinaire, showing he's got some moves here in the tournament world, in the biggest tournament in the world. This is day 5 of the main event. He's earned his stack. He's earned the right to wear that sparkly gold jacket. Back with more at the Rio in just a moment.
Too many beards and too many backpacks. What goes into a backpack? Who needs them? In college, everyone had a backpack. I did it old school. I carried my books to class, rain or shine. I was talking to one of the great tournament floor persons here, Charlie Teresi, and he says, what do they have in their backpacks? He says, they have an apple, just put it in your pocket. He's right. Jeez, these backpacks, they block the aisles, they're bulky, they're stupid. You need a backpack when you are hiking the Himalayas. You don't need a backpack when you're coming in from the Rio parking lot to the Amazon.
Do you know how far they make us park away from here during the main? You might need a backpack. You need a camel pack, the water thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Where are you parking? I park
So
right,
far.
park
Oh,
right
you're
onto the
very
trailer.
fancy.
Yeah.
Just say no to backpacks.
Oh, there's the last woman standing, Jill Bryant, third World Series of Poker cash this summer on her phone. But at least it matches her outfit.
Just say no to smartphones at the table.
That's a pretty healthy stack, though.
Did you see who she's sitting with?
Mm-mm.
Yuri.
Uh-oh.
Yuri's at her table. Daniel Hashem out there. There's two. Building a stack. Oh, now 5.6 million. He's a player.
Just say no to Starbucks.
He could have been an Aussie Rules career pro, but a bad leg. Corona Premier notables, Antonio Silver, 6 million. Andrew Brokus knows how to go deep in the main event. All right, let's get it back to Kara Scott on the floor.
The best poker content on the internet.
Your super high rollerball 7 champion. Oh yeah!
Wheels are coming off.
That's the craziest hand I've ever seen. What was that bite?
Go to get.pokergo.com/YT24 for $20 off a new annual subscription.
Sitting right next to each other are two players who have a lot of experience going deep in this main event. Brian Yoon has nearly $5 million in live tournament cashes, and some of that comes from his 4 deep runs in the main event between 2011 and 2018, including 3 top 60 finishes. I asked him what it is about a player that gets them going deep time and time again, and he laughed and said mostly luck. Statistically, it has to be someone. He did admit, though, that there are probably small things he does, small adjustments that he makes that give him an edge, but luck plays a big part, especially holding up in big situations. Sitting right next to him is Andrew Brokus, poker pro, coach, and host of the Thinking Poker podcast. Andrew cashed 5 times out of 7 in the main event from 2006 to 2011, including 3 top 100 finishes. He said he thought Brian was spot on with his answer, but added that the skill of just keeping your stuff together is underrated. There's a lot of pressure here, and something frustrating will happen through these 5, 6, 7 or more days of poker. It's not a matter of if, but of when. And the players that can react well to that frustration are bound to have an edge. They're both here looking to add a championship bracelet to their resumes with another fantastic run in the main event.
Every year we find players who've had continued success in the main event. Next year, and I'm writing this down, we're going to find players who keep coming and never make the money enough for all these cashes.
Back now to the feature table where it's hard to miss the imposing figure of Super Bowl champion Richard Seymour.
Too late to do that. That was early in the tournament.
Yeah. Thor's hammer on the stack of Andrew Brinkley as he folds. Michael Leck with queens raised to 100,000.
They give you such big chips so early.
They seem to be enjoying each other, the company, of everybody here at the table.
For the most part, Sammartino's still a little mad.
Well, yeah.
Maybe this will make him happier.
Yeah, it's finally a cooler in his direction.
I think like 2 people
Queen
had
Sammartino finally wakes up with a big hand.
But not like him,
the
where it's like
biggest
most of his
hand.
chips in that. It's weird.
Yeah. It's at like half.
But you have more before, right? You had like 4 million before, right? Or something like that? That's probably why.
3.5.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, this is a really big cooler, and I don't see Leck getting away from this at any point, as Sammartino is only about 23 or 24
I think
big
they were just
blinds
trying to
deep.
get some of the 1K, some of the 5K.
You're really not supposed to find a fold, so
They just started doing some of it now.
yeah, this is going to be bad for Leck.
So the 3-bet now back to Michael with the queens. He has seen a lot of folding from Sammartino, so it'll be interesting how he reacts to this 3-bet.
You guys didn't get to show
I'm
on that.
Lek.
Telling
I'm
each other.
just going to go all in. You know Sammartino is perfectly capable of a light 3-bet. He's done it a couple times today. You don't get to $8 million in earnings without having a few light 3-bets in your range.
All in and call. And Lek already knows. So his queens against Sammartino's aces.
That would be more towards the top end of your 3-betting range. Would hope so.
So Sammartino's dark day about to turn sunny.
My queens versus his aces.
The nightmare is going to be as bad as it gets for him.
Right. Indeed.
He is all in.
Or he could just run away from this table and be like, I never want to play at this Thunderdome again.
Need a few lucky ladies.
You want it right out the flop, or you want to?
Don't even have a live suit. I just prefer the return. That's not the right live suit.
Sharing
I have no life too. Yeah, I was going to say.
All hearts, Sammartino with the ace of hearts. So a beautiful thing to see if you're Dario Sammartino looking to double up. Lek looking for one of the two queens.
Hand over.
And that will be it. Another heart. Sammartino has that ace of hearts and made all the difference there. And so the day maybe doesn't turn around, but it gets back to where it was for Dario Sammartino.
It puts him back north of 40 big blinds, approaching
I mean, I just wanted to win.
50 big blinds now.
Looks like this is 1 point. Yes, I know. We have one.
Michael Lek taking it well. Poker pro from the East Coast.
Be greedy in this game.
1.165.
Just
1.165.
knows all too well.
We have
Playing poker all around the world. That big hands run into big hands.
Is that 5 or 4 up here?
Tape Club style board for Dario Sammartino, 32 years old, born and lives in Italy. Hasn't played a lot of poker in the last 2 years. He says poker can take a lot away from your real life.
I don't know about it all. Make sure it's clarification.
After that deep run, I think in my mind, okay, every year I want to play the main event, because the main event is the most beautiful and easy tournament in the world. So you play in the most easy tournament and you can win 10 million. So what is better than this?
Oh, that's funny.
I wish that he would go on a Helmuth tirade. I would love to hear some berating in that beautiful accent.
Back with more Main Event from Las Vegas in just a moment. Welcome back to the Rio All Suite Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, day 5 of the 50th edition of the World Series of Poker. Lon McHara, Norman Chad, Jamie Kerstetter bringing you this exciting day 5 action as the field shrinks now to 163. The payout right now still just about 50,000, a little more. It's going to jump pretty soon by about 9 grand. Average stack just north of 3 million. Miloš Skrbić, your chip leader right now. He's getting some company up in the stratosphere right now. 11 million stack for that man. Rizakinian and then Dapo Ajayi with 9.8 million. Still with the average stack around 3 million. There are a lot of players still. Sammartino leaning on King Jack here for a raise. And Neil finds King Queen.
Well, you know, you've been talking about this front pack. I just noticed on the front of there's a checker or chessboard. So he must just lay that out, you know, on a picnic table in the park. Look, and play chess or checkers. He's hustling people on the park with that chess checkerboard.
It's like Washington Park in New York. He's going to put it out on a table and go.
Washington Square Park. He's doing that.
Seymour with ace king as the hands get bigger and bigger as we navigate around this poker table.
755.
A raise all in from Neil.
I like his shove, makes perfect sense. About 15 big blinds, raising over a pretty loose opponent, but he just runs into it with Seymour, and sometimes there's just nothing you can do about it.
Now, what was, do you think, Seymour's reaction when he first looked down, knowing what we've seen from him? Was it like, yes, or like, oh, no?
It's maybe a spot where you know what you have to do, but you're not super excited about it. 4-bet jamming ace-king in the main. People tend to play a little snugger with their last chip, so when it's been 3-bet jammed already, you think, you know, this person doesn't just have like ace-5 or some crummy small pair. It's usually a good hand.
Seymour's focus directed at Sammartino, the original raiser.
One of the first rules of life is never play poker with a guy named Doc, but similarly, never play chess with a guy who carries a chessboard on the front of his whatever.
It's like billiards when you see a guy carrying his own cue in.
Yeah.
No.
This guy's a 3 or 4 sport guy.
Got 37 big blinds, so you got to just put them in here.
Big say with a big hand, chance to make a big score here. Chris Neal knows that his buddy on his left has something. And by this point, probably narrowed it down to something like ace-king.
Yeah, he's not exciting. The prospect is not as exciting when it goes Sammartino under the gun opens, and then it gets 3-bet jammed.
755.
But your hand's too good, and you just got to suck it up and say, you know, if I somehow run into aces or kings with this hand, it's just so unlikely and so unlucky.
Seymour with a slightly smaller stack Sammartino. $163 remain. We are on a money bubble. 163rd gets paid $5,855 over an $8,000 jump if you can survive one more knockout.
That bubble completely irrelevant to Richard Seymour.
I would think so, yeah.
Maybe he's a nice dude and he's maybe he's trying to get Neil that pay jump, you know? But
oh, and Eldred with
wow.
ace-king. Oh my goodness.
Well, we know no one's hitting a king.
They're all gone. Now Eldred with the biggest stack of them all.
It's much easier for him to make this call here.
And in fact, if Seymour had gone all in, Eldred probably gets rid of this with all that action in front of him.
Especially knowing that Seymour is a little bit snug, I think that Eldred could fold that. But in this situation, if I'm Eldred, I can afford this. If somehow I'm up against queens, aces, kings, anything like that, you can survive it.
And poor Neil, who's having to suffer through all of this tanking.
If Neil somehow gets this one through,
oh, right?
He's going to watch this on TV and be like, how did this happen?
All in.
No,
And again, Sammartino has to fold. Himmelbrand in the big gets rid of his hand. And so now let's see Richard Seymour, when the hands are revealed, I wonder if he'll fess up to folding ace-king there.
Or no? No.
So Eldred with a bigger stack, a bigger king. It comes down to ace versus queen. As we know, all the kings are gone.
Big pair, right?
That's what I folded.
You fold a big pair?
Folded that.
There's a queen in the window. Wow.
It's better to be wrong and around than right and
I
not.
failed to see how a diamond would be fun.
So Richard Seymour, by the way, might be kicking himself a bit for that ace-king fold.
How about a jacker?
But now it looks like it's going to work out.
I should bring my glasses. I actually 4-bet one time thinking I had a flush.
I'm like, maybe I'm missing something here, but...
there's a little fun now.
That's some fun, right? Picked up 4 more.
Neil has to survive one more street to sit down with 1.7 million chips.
Okay.
Elton's picked up the wheel draw here.
And a 6. And Neil more than doubles up. Chris Neil got a rail here.
Oh, the feeling of still being in.
I had.
You feel like you're dead. He had to just sweat that out in so many different spots.
Oh my goodness. He had to sweat through so much activity in seed 5 and 6. And there you go. Chris Neal with a stack of 1.7 million. Suddenly it was down to 700,000 or so. So a results-oriented good fold for Big Say. Sammartino got out of the way. No knockouts here at the PokerGO featured table. But the big wheel rolls on here on day 5. Jeff Eldred had to go with it. He picked up another big hand, but this one did not work out. Welcome back to Las Vegas. Corona Premier notable chip stacks right now. Chris Unikin, 3.9 million. Dean Maroney has lost a lot of chips out there. Brian Yoon over 3 million. Adam Friedman, 770,000 at the moment. 163 players still remain. And one more player to get knocked out before we get a little pay raise for the rest of the field. The Fleetwit main event payouts, 10 million for first place. PokerGO feature table. Sammartino just 3-bet with ace queen off.
That's it.
Himmelbrand with king queen, and he will fold. And Sammartino with a smile on his face once again.
When I folded it, too high.
You know, yesterday I got a call from somebody. They said that they thought that Lon had lost his phone, and they had it. And actually, I thought I heard Lon in the background, so the connection was kind of in and out. And I just hung up on the guy. Then they called again. It sounded like a Lon prank. I hung up on the guy a second time. Then they called a third time, and I was trying to work. So this time, I told the guy in so many words to just take the phone and stick it where the sun don't shine. Well, it turns out Lon had lost his phone after all.
I witnessed it. It was funny.
And you had to apologize to the gentleman. We go out into the field. Dapo Ajayi check raised the turn on the board of Jack Deuce, Jack 5, 3 hearts. Another heart came on the end. And Nicholas Marshington had pocket queens with a queen of hearts for a flush. Ajayi not loving that 4th heart on the river. And Marshington takes down a huge pot in the field of 6.5 million chips. And so Marshington now with 7.3 million. And the guy's name was Matt
Meyerhoff from Chandler, Arizona. I ran into him today. He was very, 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 very nice. I'm glad he doesn't record his phone conversations. But I thought it was a prank.
He really did. It was to the point where I was like,
I know you guys are both in here.
What if Lon really did lose his phone? We have to go to call time soon. He goes, no, it's definitely a prank. Don't worry about it.
Bad read.
The guy was thrilled to have my phone when I finally collected it from him. The main event comes once per year, but you can relive the action all year long. Watch WSOP Main Event Archive episodes featuring the biggest moments from the most prestigious event of the year, anytime, anywhere, exclusively on PokerGO. And former chip leader Dean Maroney with ace-8 all in pre, called by Big Uni, Chris Unigen with pocket kings, but there is an ace and a king out there. Trips for Big Uni, and Maroney is done. He was the chip leader coming into today, had a monster stack, and you can see how quickly things can go south.
From penthouse to outhouse in under a day.
My goodness. So Big Uni out there taking a big pot. Chris Unigen, big into the high roller world lately.
Yeah,
terrific
sure.
player. Yeah.
Great online players, OG of poker.
Oh boy, yeah.
I'm not surprised Maroney had a tough day. I mean, that is not a good table draw.
We saw that they were sitting out there together a little earlier, and it became bad news for Dean Maroney, knocked out here on day 5. Chad Power doesn't have to get in a hand. I mean, he's making headlines just sitting there.
Yeah, it looks like he rubbed the sequins the other
The
way.
wrong
now
way,
it's
yeah.
black.
Yeah, I kind of like that. Well, it's evening. It's the night shift. Or maybe just turn it inside out. I'm not sure. I don't think he could have done that.
I got a lot of reversible jackets.
That looks like an armadillo. Very shiny armadillo.
That is a work of art. He's got the chips. He has the wherewithal. Joe Beasley. Oh, wow.
Good.
Go, Joe. Doubles up. Not sure what he had, but he's got a stack of lavenders worth 100K each. The Gold Man enjoying the golden edition of the World Series of Poker. The 2019 World Series of Poker main event in full swing. The Amazon room still relatively full of bracelet hopefuls, but not full of female hopefuls. Jill Bryant is our last woman standing.
Looks like about 2.5 million in change in her stacks. She's doing all right.
Yeah. A little under average, but still a very good stack, and she's showing down 6-4.
That looked
And
like
she
a very
rivered the pair of fours?
Yeah, it looked like she made a very teeny river value bet, if we're seeing that correctly.
6-4 with an ace on the board, and she rivers a 4, and she's stacking chips. I love it.
That's called the information call.
All right. Take a look at the Corona Premier notables. Antonio working towards 7 million. Big Uni up to 5.6 million. And Adam Friedman still hanging in there.
Alex Foxen, GPI Player of the Year, trying to back that up with a main event bracelet.
Back to B. 3-bet from Capernaros with queens this time. Gates raised when Coop called 3-bet on the button. So the action is on Gates with ace-5 of clubs.
He looks like he is thinking about 4-betting. Ace-5 suited is a good candidate. You're blocking aces, you're blocking ace-king. You have some hope if somehow you get flatted after 4-betting, but man, he's running into it right now.
Is he blocking queens?
He is not.
Just curious.
He has the chips to be able to mess around a little bit.
He does block the queen of clubs.
I
don't
think that's what that means.
I don't think you're being helpful there for me.
Yeah, look at this. Gates, we're going to get busy here. He's got lots of lavender in his hand.
How did he have a look at the 4-bet to you? Because you were
He
right.
just looked so serious and kind of nervous.
Good call, Jamie.
Thanks, I'm right once a day. Be back tomorrow, maybe.
Always in doubt. All right, there is the 4-bet to 875. Back to Capenaros. Few options here, huh?
Yeah, I mean, this is not the best feeling when you're just holding queens, especially if Gary Gates has not gotten out of line, if you think he's not really capable of getting out of line. But you have the 3rd best starting hand in all of poker, and folding it is just too hard, in my opinion.
So
Twitter is already aflame with your statistic of queens being the 3rd best hand in starting. Go ahead, Norman, I'm sorry.
No, when you're an amateur against these guys, you're under the bright lights. This is his first World Series cash ever.
That's amazing. I mean, he doesn't.
He's a private tutor. When would he come to play the World Series of Poker?
Call.
Just a call? Wow. Dangerous waters upon which he treads. Okay, he's good. But still, that's a great flop for the 5.
This is really tough for Gary. I mean, he's representing extremely strong range right now, aces and kings. Obviously, ace-kings are in that range too. Catches just a piece of this flop.
That's 600,000.
This very inflated flop. Against a guy who has a stack as well.
Big pot developing here. Gates bet 600,000. And if Capernaros is going to go with his hand pre-flop, there's no reason not to go with it here.
Yeah, I mean, if his thought was, I'm in position, I want to see a clean flop, then this is the flop he wanted. And there's just so much in the middle that I wouldn't be messing around. I would just be getting it in.
Calling. And if you're Gary,
you're thrilled. You get to realize your equity on the turn at least. And there's nothing for him there, but I mean, that's a gift from Capernaros.
Well, for Gates, 1/3 of the chips he began this hand with are already in the pot. He 4-bet, let out on the flop. Now what?
what is he thinking he's up against, and where has he gotten himself into? He's painted himself into a corner here.
Yeah, alarm bells would start going off in my head right now if the flop flat is extremely scary. Capernaros could definitely play queens, kings, aces exactly like this. It starts to feel like a trap.
Wow.
Gary gets to see
free
another card
for Gates, and Capernaros dodges danger the whole way.
And this is a card that Gary can credibly represent. If it's an ace-king that missed the first 4 cards, would it go for value here?
He could really turn the screws on Capernaros. There's only one way to win this pot. One possible way, not guaranteed.
This is one of those easier said than done. Oh yeah, just jam, Gary. I mean, your stack's probably worth a, a couple $100,000. Just bluff.
See the heavy breathing from Gary now. He knows what he has to do. A check means he loses this pot. Gates starting the hand with over $4 million. Does check. And check back, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Queens is so thrilled to get to showdown here. And I think it's just such a sick feeling as Gary. Gary wants to shove. It just is.
Nice hand.
You still have such a good chance in this tournament if you shut down.
And it wasn't guaranteed, but that was the only way he could have won. And
Might have got snapped off.
Still, it was high risk.
Oh, yeah.
High reward, and he just decided not to take the risk.
And so he does preserve his stack. Gary Gates down below $3 million. A nice pot for Capernaros with those queens. The private tutor giving some lessons to some pros out there. Please send tomorrow's gold jacket. I'm still in. Oh, nice going, Chad. Back with more in a moment. Here we are in 2019, the 50th edition. Chad having fun with his jacket. He wanders to Twitter. He's got a poll out, folks. Go to @Chad_power. What should he do when he gets knocked out? Give it to the guy or lady who knocks me out. Give it to me. Give it to Norman. Burn it for sabotaging me. Norman and I have pinky sworn to live up to whatever happens on the Twitter poll. If it goes to one of us, then
You're just going to wear it the rest of the coverage?
somewhere.
I want it. I made fun of it, but I didn't realize it was reversible. If it ain't going to the Liberace Museum in town, I want it.
You're right. That's right. You tweeted about that. Milos Skrvic still the chip leader, but it's getting a little tighter up top there with Warwick. The Lords down to 8.8 million right now. And last I saw, Antonio was kind of moving up there in that territory.
7 million-ish, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
They're
talking FC, aren't
they? The World Cup.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. I'm not good.
So I have not been to Argentina, but what you were confused with, Lon, is I was at the 1986
intelligence right there. That's
World Cup in Mexico City.
Oh, okay.
In which Diego Maradona's hand of God gave Argentina.
Oh, Maradona.
And just watching the Argentina, I'm not a big soccer fan, but when you watch World Cup soccer anywhere in the world, just to watch those crowds and just
feel the crowds,
it's just a whole different buzz.
I bet that was exciting. What a great experience for you. Eldred with eights, a raise. Now Himmelbrand can play.
If you're looking for the restroom, they're over there and over there.
Looks like he spread them around the table. Himmelbrand got awfully quiet quickly.
tanked it the whole break.
Not a lot of history with Eldred.
And Himmelbrand's got 36 big blinds, I think.
Raise 350,000.
I think I would have made it a little bit of a healthier raise, maybe. Just try to isolate Eldridge, make sure that you're the only one up against him, but
looks like that might get the job done.
Yeah.
We're done?
Done?
Players see the clock. They can fold. No more hands to be played as they are at the end of the level.
But no more here. No more features.
Actually, at the end of their playing session, there's a little time left on the level.
With the NFL star here, we're still getting kicked off.
Eldred with a tough decision
I thought I
here.
added a little bit to it. I was trying.
It's very unlikely that Greg is 3-betting here and then intending to fold to your stack. So yeah, this is a good
Last
fold.
hand, get to another table, and you can have that one.
It's a good fold.
And that shows the eights.
You're going to see in 30 minutes and we're breaking. You want to see it now?
Yeah, let me see.
It was a flip. This is the worst hand I have.
Yeah.
This is the worst hand I have. It's either that or I have you beat, you know?
Nicely done, Greg. Good fold, Jeff.
All right, guys. It was fun.
The best poker content on the internet.
Your super high roller bowl 7 champion.
Oh, yeah.
Wheels are coming off.
That's the craziest hand I've ever seen. What was that bite?
Go to get.pokergo.com/YT24 for $20 off a new annual subscription.
Year after year, Antonio Esfandiari makes the World Series of Poker his personal playground.
When you're on vacation, we're at the office.
From deep runs to the commentary booth, Antonio knows success.
Barefoot magician walks away with 18 million plus.
But like everyone else remaining in the field, he's missing the ultimate prize, a main event bracelet. His run continues next. Welcome everyone to Las Vegas for continuing coverage of the 2019 World Series of Poker main event. I'm Lon McCarron along with Norman Chad, Jamie Kerstetter, and Kara Scott as we head right to the feature table here on day 5. None other than our buddy Antonio Esfandiari holding court.
It's always nice commentating in Esfandiari feature table because we get to just sit here quietly.
No, it was totally wrong. I swear if the guy wasn't we got to do the interview,
we know.
I would not have left.
There is an extra chip.
And I actually talked to my wife about it, that I should not have left, even with the interview. So I apologize.
All right.
No, but I still shouldn't have left.
Well, whatever. Well,
It's not whatever. We're a team effort. Why should I not be able to do it?
Our break, so we can of course leave on our break.
100%, I agree with that. But because of what was said,
but it's not your fault. It's the floor person's fault.
I'm not saying it's my fault, but the right thing for me would have been no interview and stay with the group.
And we're going to go together on all of our breaks from now on.
Yeah, we could have peed together, Joe.
Yeah.
You know, we could have had a little. Well, I don't want to say it on TV, but a little
pee-wee.
Called a sword fight in America. Joe, what do you think? Who's a favorite in a sword fight, you or me?
No,
he went there.
Definitely Lars. He's German. I mean, we're not gonna. That's why he's not in the contest.
Danish.
Oh, you're Danish. Sorry, someone said you.
There's Joe.
I did.
Minnesota.
You're a Dane,
Twin
huh? I
Cities
love the
area
Dane.
owns the Gold Guys.
I've been there.
Precious metals dealer.
I'm a Dane too.
No, Quince.
Yeah?
Wow.
I got a couple of really
Jared
good Danish
Solomon.
Vince.
South Africa right there. To his right, Ian Pels, the chip leader at this table.
I think I'm going to have to root for Solomon here because he studied law and gave it up. So it seems like he's a smart guy.
A smart guy. There's Lars Bonding.
Gustavo was here? Yeah. Gustavo.
Lars had a nice deep run in the
So raise and
2011 main event. Finished 22nd spot. Solomon raised. Kim 3-bet with the lesser king.
Who? Yeah. Oh, you here with Per?
Yeah, he's here.
Wait, Per is here?
Yeah.
The guy that came to Burning Man with me?
Yeah.
Jiwoon
And he didn't call
Kim
me?
in seat 2.
He's busy.
He's one of my favorite people. I'm very upset he didn't call me. You can tell him I am very upset.
I'll do that.
I can't believe he's here. What a class act that guy is.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
I mean, I met him and I was like, that is a guy I want to be around.
He's a good man.
He had a great time at Burning Man this year.
I know.
When are you coming?
Second?
When are you coming?
Well, I didn't make it to Burning Man. You guys didn't go this year.
It's in like 2 months, 3 months.
But I thought you guys weren't going.
Oh, we're going. We're going. Oh, we're going. I'll never
Your
miss
wife
Burning
go to
Man.
that with you?
She's never been, no. But I told her day one when we met that no matter what,
Burning Man
for the rest of my life, that's non-negotiable. I'm going to Burning Man.
Wow.
Come,
Just
Joe. We
say
can
no to
do
Burning
that
Man.
stuff, run around the desert naked
Good
together.
luck.
Sword fight, the whole thing. I'll go.
I could see Joe at Burning Man.
Oh yeah, BZ definitely.
I mean, he would bond with Antonio's father in an
Raise.
instant.
We are not messing around.
There is the raise.
1 million.
Been waiting a long time to hear that here at the main event.
Jimmy and Pear.
I think I would play it the same way as Solomon. You're doing great right now. Don't take so many risks with your stack. This hand is much easier to play pre-flop, especially when you're going to be out of position for the rest of the hand.
No, I visited them a lot when Phil and Jimmy used to live together.
Ji-Woon Kim from South Korea,
never
starting the
lived
hand
there.
with 4 million.
Oh wow, he
He's
makes
gonna,
the call.
Wow, make the call with ace-jack of clubs against Solomon with not quite the stack, nearly identical stacks.
Not well, but
So Kim
I know
has Solomon
Sender
slightly covered in this battle.
650.
Sanders.
650.
Pot is just
and 350
huge.
satisfies
20
about
big
1
blinds
million.
apiece going in.
And Andy Sy, who comes in with 480,000, was looking like, I wish I could make that bet.
Good TV.
All right, here's the flop. Ace-King against Ace-Jack, no paint.
It's a sick feeling when you're holding the ace-king and you just bloated a pot. You're out of position. You caught none of it.
Enough to make you go back into law?
Check.
No. Good one.
So Kim, with that call, has represented that he's got a hand, and that represents something similar. So you got double stacks there? A little more.
Bet is 1 million.
Oh, he did have double stacks.
This takes some guts to do. This is a good portion of Kim's stack has found its way in the middle of pre-flop and now on the flop.
Over 3 million in the middle.
Joe, where are you from?
Minnesota.
Minnesota? I've never been.
A little warmer up there right now.
Not on my top 5.
And that'll do it.
Yeah, and Solomon folds his ace-king. Well played by Ji-Woon Kim.
I like water, even though I'm from
Bit of a sketchy flat pre-flop, but if you got the guts to stab at it post, by all means.
That was just a beautiful example of how to play this game.
Landed.
Lon McCarron,
Come up
Jamie Gerstetter,
sometime.
Norman Chad,
I'll take you fishing.
taking you through all of day
I
5.
only went fishing one time in my life.
Really? It's not your sport.
Wasn't my speed.
Easy making a mistake inviting Antonio to Minnesota, where
No, I
he's
didn't
never
catch
been.
anything. I mean, it wasn't really proper fishing. I feel
All
like
the doors
Joe,
in
you would take
Minnesota are
me
generally
proper
unlocked.
fishing, right?
There's no reason to have Antonio come into the
That
state.
I can see.
Raise 125.
I grew up in the generation where
Casey Stewart raising it up.
cable, no cell phones.
Las Vegas, Poker
The
Pro,
best.
34-year-old.
We actually hung out.
Out in the woods,
Stewart
killing
on the button
animals,
with
fishing,
9-8 off.
Campfires, starlight.
Society's definitely taking a turn for the worse. Nobody cares about what they're doing. They
Marinelli,
care about what other
Dario.
people think of what they're doing.
Marinelli.
Call.
Very good point.
It's kind of sad.
I'll tell you what, if the zombie apocalypse comes, though, I can keep you
Marinelli
alive in the wilderness.
knocked out Jean-Robert Ballon with a set of queens. JRB had aces. And Marinelli became a name himself with that knockout.
What is this? Check, check.
I want to hear more about the zombie apocalypse.
around.
BZ said he could keep us safe in the zombie apocalypse. Should I get to know him after this? I feel like I'm pretty useless if that ever happened. I can't hunt. I can't do anything.
Check.
There's 10,000
Take a
lakes
stab.
out there. You don't have to hunt.
That is 100.
Three, queen, 5-5. No spades. Wheel draw for BZ. So bet 100,000. It's going to cost a little more.
Gonna take it down right here, he says.
265.
BZ coming to the table with over 3 million. Coming up and down day for him. Now up.
It's a really small raise. But if you're BZ, you have a very small hand, so can't really afford to call anything.
It could turn into a big hand if he hits the deuce.
It's the whole plan, so he's live to an ace or a deuce.
Or the ace, yep.
Call.
BZ commits
What's
the chips.
He's gone in the main?
Almost $1 million in the middle.
You got me by 2 spots. Nice. Hard to get there.
Oh, baby.
Wow. Hello, ace.
Where Marinelli says, I wish I put another 100K on that bet.
And he does check. And check back. Seen BZ do that.
Such an honest player. Just trying to hit his card.
Joe,
He hits
baby.
it. He's like, pot's big enough.
I was hoping for the deuce, actually.
Ace was just a nice bonus, right?
That's right.
Joe, baby. Remind me not to bluff you, okay?
Antonio, I'm so sticky, it gets me in trouble.
That's a good thing. You got to be sticky to win these stupid things.
So sticky.
Welcome back to the Amazon Room at the Rio All Suite Hotel and Casino, and continuing coverage of Day 5 of the 2019 World Series of Poker Main Event, the 50th edition. Lon McCarron here with Norman Chad, Jamie Kerstetter, and Kara Scott. 147 players remain. The current payout just over 59,000 US. The average stack about $3.5 million. We've got a terrific lineup here at our PokerGO featured table, which includes Antonio Esfandiari, live tournament winnings of almost $28 million, 3 World Series of Poker bracelets, and Norman Chad, he's a man we're happy for. We're not working with him because he's out there, so let's watch him work.
And actually, he loves the main event. This is his 6th main event cash in the last 11. And he's just dying to make that deep run again. He only made one in 09. He was 24th.
We go over to table C. Jacob Thibodeau at risk against Jonathan Cohen. Thibodeau with ace-king, Cohen with king-king. And it is Thibodeau at risk with the ace-king.
Brick on the turn.
Ace. Oh, wow. No brick. No brick. Ace-king for Jacob Thibodeau, overcoming the kings of Cohen.
That was actually pretty sweet.
Ace on the river.
Each street. I mean, the celebration.
So that is our official dollar shave double up for Jacob Thibodeau.
Power of the cat shirt he is wearing. He believes in the cat shirt.
That was extra dramatic, too, with him relaying the card to his rail each time. He's like, I'm dead, double up.
Yay!
Raise 125. Oh,
very nice. Thibodeau with some more chips out there. Back to the PokerGO featured table. Ji-Woon Kim
It's going to get edited.
with a raise with ace-queen. BZ comes along with a middling ace.
We have 3 players.
And Pels with 9-7 suited, playing the Persian
Don't you guys
carpet
feel
ride
like
right in Antonio's
For
face.
God's sake, we've seen him for hundreds of hours.
One
on
diamond,
TV.
queen for Kim.
My days are coming to an end, Joe.
Check.
There's always newer and bigger.
Bet 200.
Gets rid of the 9-7, will not get rid of the ace-queen.
Call.
Oh, yo, check, I call.
Yeah.
Joe doesn't like that.
Oh,
check.
poor
Wow.
BZ.
What a sweet man. On his bio sheet today, Joe said his second favorite moment at this main event so far was meeting Lon McCarron. And his favorite moment, he said, was
That is 500.
meeting Norman Chad.
Really?
Yeah, it's on the bio sheet.
I don't think he said that at all.
Check the bio sheet.
Do you have a bio sheet?
I have one right in front of me.
It's handwritten in Norm's handwriting.
Raise. Million.
So that's a very,
that. There's-
very unfortunate turn card for BZ. We've seen him not want to
Yeah.
part with his chips, and he definitely would have hesitated to put more chips into this pot. But now he has every reason to.
Thank you, sir.
Ace is up for both.
Love
Easy getting there
Canadians.
on the turn, but Kim was already there.
Sometimes you got to upgrade. You know. I won't.
And we saw him yesterday in one of the pots that's making the rounds on the internet.
Are you from
that he was
Montreal?
hesitant to put in a bunch of chips with a really good hand with a boat over boat situation. So do you think that there's a chance he gets away from this one? It's not a boat.
I like that place.
It's not a boat.
How do you know him?
He's got him in hand.
This might be a call one and reassess the river type of situation.
He's up against
Well, guys.
a bigger stack. Well, guys, don't say well, guys.
Oh, that's the speech right before you head out the door.
Yeah.
Talk to you when you didn't want to be.
No, I don't think he's doing that.
I've had a couple. Does that happen a bunch or not?
Why does he say well, guys?
Because he was about to address them. It was polite.
I don't think so.
Oh, BZ, I don't want to see him go.
I think this is ESPN.
Joe Beasy. The ace is up. It's been a delight, Joe. We want to keep you around. You've been able to read your opponents really well to this point. You owned Gus Hansen.
This might be the end of the road, kids.
Oh, I don't like that. You're right.
And don't say that when you still have so many more chips.
You have 3 million.
I'm all in.
Oh, no. Oh, BZ.
Call. Call's been made.
Joe doesn't like that.
Showdown, gentlemen.
And Joe is almost drawing dead.
Wow.
It is the end of the road.
Pretty thick.
Such an unlucky turn
Man,
card for poor BZ.
You know, it reminds you when John Hess was against Scott Blumstein, and he turned like aces up, and he was up against a set of aces.
Yeah, he was
just
drawing
like that.
stone dead.
Yeah.
That was brutal.
This is pretty close.
So BZ looking for one of the 2 9s, and Kim about to get super healthy at this PokerGo featured table if he can fade danger on the end. The river card, the 7 of spades, and that will do it. The very likable Joe Beasy from Twin Cities, one of the gold guys.
No, he's got me.
Going out with a bitter taste in his mouth.
Man, what an experience, though. He had 39K in cashes before this. 17K was his best cash ever.
Oh.
And to make it this deep in the main, to have this kind of sweat, it's really awesome. And he really comported himself well for someone who, you know, should probably feel pretty nervous in that spot.
Can't blame you, Joe. It was a tough spot to be in. Back in a moment. The Rio All-Suite Hotel and Casino playing host to the 50th running of the World Series of Poker Main Event. So we go over to table B. It is Jake Schindler all in again. King Jack of spades. Gary Gates with a pair of 4s.
Yeah. And for Gary, it's worth. What's the dollar value of this?
It can't be 5,000, right? Because you can still just like
literally worth a few $100s probably.
Nah, it's gotta be. I think your number.
King Jack at risk.
Got the 2-pair counterfeit outs going.
Pocket 4 is so susceptible, but Gates had such a monster stack, and Schindler was cut down to almost nothing.
Yeah, that's what we were just debating. I think I am.
Schindler just wants to jump off a building right now listening to Chad Power debate how much money this is worth. He's like, who cares? I'm all in, man. I'm trying to double up here.
No, too many starts around like 14.
If it was a spade, he could just leave now.
One more card to come. Schindler looking to hang on.
Now it's a flip.
King Jack or 10 on the river, and Schindler gets there.
Yeah. You mean nice hand?
It just seems unfair when the really good ones also get lucky.
He's unbreakable. The man is unbreakable.
Schindler is one of the really good ones with about 24 million in live earnings.
17th on the all-time earnings list. Number 1 in Pennsylvania.
No, keep it.
So we saw Joe Beasy get knocked off of our PokerGO featured table, and he's been such a delight. We talk to him every day. He's on a couple of featured tables. He had great time and bonding time with Gus Hansen the other night. Right now, Kara Scott has tracked him down, and we get a bust-out interview with Kara and Joe Beasy.
Out on day 5, Joe Beasy, can you talk to us about the experience that you've had here in the main event?
It's one of those moments where words fail you as to how fun this has been, how amazing the ride has been. I mean, today, Lon and Norman both came up to my table, and we were chatting. They were letting me know that they were pulling for me, and the guys on the tables around are going, "Who's this dude?" I mean, it's just a thrill. Well, anybody that knows poker.
Antonio Esfandiari invited you to come to Burning Man. Are you going to take him up on that? Because I think that sounds amazing.
It's already planning. I mean, we're going.
Not a bad main event, then, even ending here on day 5. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
Back over to table B. There's Yuri Zivalevsky, who we have taken a shine to from day 1 at this main event.
Call.
Zivalevsky calls.
Speaking of shine, Chad
yeah.
Power calls.
The Power makes the call.
I think because I was a blind.
She 8 lemon grows like 30 minutes. I don't know.
I mean, that's kind of up to you, isn't it?
Open-ended for Zivalevsky.
Call up to you.
Manol's good with his ace-jack. It'd be great to see when Chad gets up from the table, he pulls down and yanks the cord out of the outlet, and his jacket kind of goes, and he walks away.
That'd be funny, actually. Yeah, if he like loses a big pot, he just turns it to black.
Check, check, check.
Check.
Well, Zivalevsky now with the lead, pairing that 8.
Check.
Now a chance for Zivalevsky.
The hair is heavy, so it's comfortable. Get a humidifier.
Bet 200.
Yuri from Brazil. He's an 11th-month-old child. A lot of new dads sprinkled around the main event this year.
Raised to 555.
Wow. Chad showing strength on the 6, 7, 8 paired board.
How do you spell that?
Weird spot for Zivalevsky. He's got a good hand right now with potential to improve, but he also has a stack he has to start worrying about. He's left with about 31 big blinds.
Can do it right here, right?
And the playability of your stack as you call is dwindling. If he happened to lose this pot, then yeah, he's going to be out of the driver's seat. The last 2 days that he's been on a feature table, he's been able to just have his way.
He has. No paint on the end. Zivalevsky has the best hand. That was a great card for him.
Well, only one path to this pot for Chad Power.
It's going to have to be a big bluff. I don't know if this is going to get it done. That's 775.
Wow. Lots of pressure on Yuri. Lots of opportunity for Yuri.
You've come this far. Pot's 2.4 million.
That's what I was thinking.
But a call here in which he would be beat, if he was beat.
Oh yeah, devastating.
Is devastating. Leaves him with less than 15 bigs. So a tough decision.
Chad Power has done everything in his power to win this pot. Now it's up to Yuri Zivalevsky.
This looks so strong. This looks stronger than if Chad had shoved. Looks so value heavy right now. And
They are at a crossroads.
A critical hand for both of these players here late on day 5 of the main event. Wow. Yuri is tortured. And he does fold. What a play. What a needed play for Chad Power.
That's a really nice no-show. I thought Chad might be the type to slam it down and be like, got him.
Right.
He is the type to do that.
Not that
I'm
big.
surprised he did.
Back to being gold.
I didn't earn it.
Real hand.
You find ways to build a stack, and he found a way. And look, hey, Dad bringing pizza to the table. His son Daniel with a big stack, hungry, but he's not just going to bring one slice or two. It's like, hey, Joe's a class act. Take a photo.
Oh, I thought she wanted a photo with the pizza because it looked really good.
Joe Hashem, world champion in 05, pizza delivery boy in 2019. Well done, champ. For unlimited access to more of the best in live poker all year long, including the World Series of Poker, Super High Roller Bowl, World Poker Tour, and more, get in the game with PokerGo. Back inside the Amazon room, the field shrinking, but the last woman holding chips, Jill Bryant, still hanging on. Kara Scott has more.
Jill Bryant is the last woman in the main event field. She's also the last player from a certain poker Facebook group in the field, and that means a lot more to the young men I found on her rail. The group has about 800 members meant for support and chat and general poker meetups. This is the first time many of them have met in person. Their group rented 2 big houses in Vegas for the series this summer, although Jill did elect to get her own accommodation. Jill started day 5 with 1.6 million chips, and she's been chipping up from there. She was just moved to Daniel Hashem's table, and as she picked up her chips to leave, her old table mates all wished her well. She's clearly made a few more fans.
Thank you, Kara. Look at Kim's stack now, over 10 milli. Wow, and he's got chips. He's got a lot of physical chips. I love that. That is the main event.
Yeah, I always get a little bummed out after a color up. I remember I used to leave them in just massive piles. Yes, it was cumbersome for everyone, for the players, the dealers. Made it go slower, but it also looked really cool.
Great pictures, yes.
And more chips somehow induce more action, I generally think.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
Because people have no idea how much anyone has. Like,
no, just I mean, in card rooms, when I first walk into a card room, I go, "Why are they playing 918 instead of 1020?" And they explain to me,
okay.
Yeah, instead of the $5 chips for 1020, you have all these $3 chips for 918, and people tend to put them in more. They love
you look in the
chips.
middle, you go, "How can I fold?" There's so many chips in the middle.
Yeah, the 4-8 pot limit game or limit game, 08 game at Stones. I mean, there's just stacks everywhere. Yeah. New player here taking Joe Beasy's place, and nobody could replace Joe Beasy, but Paul Dhaliwal. Seat 6 in the hand with ace-jack, and introduces himself to the table with a raise to 125. Kim called, of course. Antonio's in for 125. Stewart now shoves with ace-jack.
There's 7. 1.7, 1.915.
I guess it's got to be 8s, huh?
Yeah, I don't really think Esfandiari Hollywood's very much. I would assume this is 8s.
And he'd be in great shape with another ace-jack gone.
Oh, my friend. Don't see how I can lay this down. I don't like it. I know you're not tilting. You look far too composed to be tilting.
Oh. Yeah, that's 2 8s right there.
Mm-hmm. So ace-jack all in. Casey Stewart looking to hold on and double up. And it is pocket 8s for Antonio Esfandiari.
And this is a total setup hand. When you raise eights on the button against about a 30 big blind stack, a little bit less than the small, you just can't really fold. And Ace Jack is happy to get it in. They think maybe even a worse ace will call.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
Button.
Thank you.
And we saw Dollawall fold, or he raised and folded Ace Jack. Not helping Stewart's cause. Antonio Esfandiari looking to rake in this pot of $4.2 million.
Why does we have to wait?
Amal. Bunara. Antonio's wife on the rail. Played the main event. And here is the flop.
They both wanted to go wee.
Yeah.
An eight
I
in
like
there.
that he's holding the wee in until his buddy leaves. You know, that's classy.
Antonio Esfandiari
That
flops
was a
the
magic
8
flop.
pocket eights and sends Casey Stewart into the night.
I would have flopped the nutters. Wow, that would have been a fun flop.
She's got to be tired. She's been railing for multiple days now, huh?
She
Wow.
has, yeah.
I didn't want to ruin his hopes, but I had ace jack.
You what?
I opened it with ace jack.
Oh, you had ace jack too?
A nice flop for Antonio. It's a good life. Ball. Whoa! Well, that water certainly not as cold as that flop. Casey Stewart out of the main event at the hands of Antonio Esfandiari. Magic man indeed. Out in the field, Eldred looked like he's coming up short as well, and we lose him from the main event on day 5.
This main event is all about guys like Joe Beasy and Jeff Eldred. We'd love to see them enjoy themselves and love to see them go deep.
The best poker content on the internet.
Your super high rollerball 7 champion.
Oh, yeah.
Wheels are coming off.
That's the craziest hand I've ever seen. What was that bite?
Go to get.pokergo.com/YT24 for $20 off a new annual subscription.
One pro we enjoy watching, of course, is our buddy Antonio Esfandiari. This year, before the main event, he placed a bet I don't think any of us saw coming.
I had just taken this boxing training class, right? And I get to the poker game, Kevin's there, and I come in, you know, doing one of these things, and he starts laughing at me. Rightfully so, because obviously I have no idea how to box. And he basically just said, anytime, any place, anywhere, any amount. And I'm like, okay, well, you gotta lay me crazy odds, because I've never boxed a day in my life. We came up with 35 to 1, and I had basically 6-7 months. He just assumed that I had 0% chance to win. But obviously, he doesn't know that when I have a bet that I'm gonna put everything I have, all my resources into it. When I first took the bet, I was in search of a boxing coach. And luckily, I get a message from Daniel Negreanu who says, hey, my buddy Audley heard about the bet and wants to talk to you. We had a good connection right away. And I just said, look, for the next 7 months, whatever you tell me to do, I'm gonna do it. On fight day, we got a W. The win was very nice, but honestly, it wasn't really about the money. I have bragging rights over him for the rest of his life. When I hang out with him and his crew, they give him so much crap, and that's the best part. That is by far the most enjoyable thing, and I have that for the rest of my life.
Look, Antonio, let's not get too high on the horse here. You won by decision, which is like winning the extra chip in a chopped pot, okay? Big deal. Talk to me when you knock your opponent out.
Norman, you know a decision in boxing counts as a full win, right? You realize that?
If you want to get technical with me, fine. But if you think Antonio's win by decision over a 5'4" comedian goes down as a win in my book, well, you haven't read my book. That win is an embarrassment to the boxing world, and frankly, I'm embarrassed to even be talking about it.
Well, Norman, that's not the first bad poker boxing match we've seen in our years of doing this gig, and surely it won't be the last, unfortunately.
See Alex Livingston.
Taking his seat 7, where Andy Sy had been sitting just a little while ago.
150,000. Raise 360,000.
Okay, allowing two. You don't want to think about it? No hesitation?
No, we just got here.
Antonio does not know how to deal with Ji-Woon Kim.
Somebody sat down at our table.
Snap call.
Then they moved all of you.
Yeah, they moved all of us.
Check.
Very bright.
Kim again checks.
My backpack yesterday, and I took it out this morning. And
Yeah.
Seriously. I've never played on it. It's so far down too.
No, it's very weird.
465,000. 4.
Antonio making a play at this pot.
What did you start today with?
Started short, 700. So I feel good. Yep.
1.86.
It's getting real.
What is Antonio up to? Mr. Kim is thinking about.
Must be nice to have been through it before.
Yeah, it helps a little bit for sure.
I would be so afraid to bluff Mr. Kim.
Still.
Yeah.
His chips are extremely in play.
They're in pre-fold mode right here, and he does give it up.
Yeah, because actually people use it, it seems like.
Oh, all I hear all the time.
It's going to make Antonio feel good. Come right back.
Kind of funny.
And bluff Kim off a pot. Far from an easy decision for Kim as he chooses the wrong path. Antonio with a well-timed bluff to win a nice pot. The championship bracelet that awaits this year's winner, along with $10 million. Over 8,000 players in the dust. Just a few hundred remain. Over to table B. See what's going on over there. Chad Power. I guess he's won a pot or two. It's all gold now.
Over there, and you can like sit
3.8 million.
Drink beer. Yeah.
Zivaleski up to 2.5 million. So he's been busy there.
Gangnam Style.
Bernaros in the lead here
But 75,000.
with a pair of fives on the turn. Tortured Yuri Zivaleski has rebounded a little bit.
I think that factors in when he's deciding whether to call Chad Power on the river there, is that he would have been crippled to about 15 big blinds, and then you are at the mercy of the deck, where we've seen him just be able to make chips out of nothing for 2 days straight. So you just don't want to ever get yourself down to a shove stack.
Yeah, and that's something obviously he knows about, and something that recreational players should think about is if I'm left with this amount, how can I work it?
I got that from the first.
You don't want to hamstring yourself on that type of situation. So Yuri knows his game. Maybe he knows some players around him. He, as you said, Jamie, he can pull chips out of the ceiling here.
Well, he just pulled one out of somewhere on the river. Because Campaneris got counterfeited. His two pair no longer good now.
Whatever, because I didn't really want it to go public.
Zivaleski playing the jack or the ace. Take your pick.
He has to pick off a bluff if he wants to win this pot.
It wasn't a lot of money relative to what I was putting her in either. So it's just like pure laziness. Just didn't feel like
good bet from the tutor.
Out of it,
I don't know
out of it,
if you can call this.
And then still wants to play tournaments and sell action. It's absurd.
Cool.
He does call.
There we go.
Sounds like a sleazy business.
Nice call, Yuri.
Queens and sixes with an ace.
No, I mean, just a couple of bad apples. I've had like
ships
probably
them over.
3 stakes go bad. And not all in that fashion.
And Yuri now over 3.2 million, just like that.
It's really not that bad, and some of those made me a lot of money. So
still below the chip average, but still with a very workable stack. Seymour all in, got it all in with king 4 of diamonds. And Anuj Agarwal moved in ace tray of diamonds. And then Kaizen came in with pocket queens. Seymour paired his king for a possible triple up. Turn is a queen, trips for Agarwal. King has no help to Seymour. And Richard Seymour is gone here on day 5. And he was a great addition to this main event field.
131st at this main event. What a great run for the 7-time Pro Bowler in the NFL.
Of course, he's going to look back at some hands, as everyone does, and say, I wish I could have done that differently.
It's still a pretty impressive run. This is not his first sport.
All right, so just a little bit out of his bust out, Kara Scott talked with Richard Seymour.
We've lost Richard Seymour here late on day 5. 3-time Super Bowl champion. I mean, you know what pressure is like. Can you talk to me about what the day was like here for you today?
Actually, I got off to a pretty solid start, and then kind of went card dead for a while, and then I got in some spots where I felt like I had to make some big folds. It was a couple where I could have raised, then the guy with a jam, and then I mean, just normal poker stuff. And you know, I just think, you know, you go out, you try to make the best decisions possible, and you know, you live with the results. You know, if it didn't work out, but it's not too much that I regret. You know, throughout the day.
What would be your biggest takeaway from this event?
Just the thrill of playing with, you know, a lot of great players. I really enjoy competing, and you know, it's bittersweet, but at the end of the day, you know, we had a great time, you know, and whoever takes it down, they're going to be a happy man. So.
That they will. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
He was generous with his time, but ultimately time ran out on Richard Seymour. An impressive main event run for the former NFL star. I'm sure we'll see him back here again soon. Back to the feature table where Gary Gates has taken a seat next to Antonio Esfandiari. Gary, a fixture in the poker community, serving as a player liaison for an online poker site.
Is there a worse seat in the room than the one next to Antonio? How many wheeze could one human take?
Yeah, that was. I saw your belt and it was hideous. And
It's 140. I was standing belt level with your eyes.
Lars Bonding with ace queen will open the action.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Now Antonio with ace-6. Bonding raised. Antonio calls.
Raise 325.
Oh no, I didn't see all the purple.
So Antonio agrees that ace-6 off makes a better 3-bet than a flat.
But Gates has 9s now.
Gates is in a really weird spot with his stack size here. Got about 40, a little over 40 big blinds. If you put in a 4-bet here, you're kind of turning your 9s into a bluff. You kind of want a flat, but it's too much of your stack. There's a chance the 9s might just hit the muck here. Positions are so late, though, that I wouldn't even hate a shove. I think a shove would be okay.
Call.
So 325s, leaving himself with a little under 40 bigs. He's really hoping that Bonding doesn't have a hand he can 4-bet, and Bonding kind of does.
And you're right, Norman. I was ready for him to launch into a John Houseman lecture right there.
Cause. I haven't seen that film for so long. Seems like he took a lot of breaths between noun, verb, subject. Do you think a shove would have gone through, Jamie?
Yeah, I do think a shove would have gotten through. I know it's risky, but you are picking up quite a few chips doing that.
Call.
Lucky for Gates, he gets to see the flop and realize his equity
Did
here.
not expect that.
And
Pretty
he
good
will.
spot.
Yeah, with Antonio and Lars sharing an ace. Wow, and Gates has the only heart. Of course, he didn't know that, but what a nice flop.
So it's tough with having 9s out of position versus 2 aggressive players. It's so unlikely that you're going to get to win this hand unless you hit a set.
Check to Antonio. He follows suit. Another king.
I was actually a little bit surprised that Bonding and Esfandiari both decided not to step at this flop. Such a big pot.
Ah, it's Bonding who's going to put chips in the middle now.
425.
Lars, that's what I was going to do.
This is so tough for Gary. It's so many of his chips, and he's going to be out of position once again on the river. Can he withstand turn bet and the river bet is what he's thinking right now. Is Lars ever going to give up on the river?
Gary eyeing his stack like it changed in the last few seconds. Gary, you got yourself into this. Now get yourself out of this.
Gary lays it down. Jamie, you set a tough position to be in from the very start. And when it came to the ultimate pressure on the turn, Gary had to bow out.
Lars has ace-queen, so we think bad fold. But if he had ace-king, we'd be singing the praises of Gary Gates. Tough game.
Players about to go on a break with 125 remaining in the 2019 main event. A look at the Corona Premier notable chip counts before we step away. Canadian poker pro Sam Greenwood nearing 8 million. Joe Bryant still in it with 2.3 million.
Daniel Hashem, full of his father's freshly delivered pizza, stacked at 6 million. I'm ready for more. Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi.
Antonio kept the ball rolling tonight in his main event. Richard Seymour not so lucky. For Norman Chad, Jamie Kerstetter, and Kara Scott, I'm Lon McCarran. We'll see you next time from the World Series of Poker.